A young woman vanishes in Mesa, Arizona, no signs of a struggle, no goodbye, and no answers. Emily Pike was there one moment and gone the next. Police have a timeline, but it doesn't add up. A chilling clue was found miles away, and it changes everything. What really happened to Emily that night? Stick with me, because by the end of this, you might have a theory the police need to hear. On January 27, 2025, 27-year-old Emily Pike vanished from Mesa, Arizona, leaving behind a mystery that has shaken her family, friends, and an entire community. She wasn't just another name in a missing persons database. Emily was vibrant, hardworking, and deeply loved by those who knew her. That night, she was supposed to make it home. She never did. What followed was a chilling sequence of discoveries that made investigators question everything they thought they knew. In this video, we retrace Emily's final known steps, uncovering the strange details and unanswered questions that have kept this case unsolved. From her life before that night to the conflicting witness statements and odd evidence found later, this story will take you inside one of the most baffling disappearances Arizona has seen in years. Every piece of information matters, because somewhere out there, someone knows the truth. If you care about justice and helping bring Emily home, please like this video to help spread awareness. Comment your thoughts and theories below, and subscribe so you don't miss future updates as this case develops. Your engagement could be the push that keeps this story in the public eye, and maybe, just maybe, closer to a resolution. Mesa, Arizona, January 27, 2025. Just after sunset, 14-year-old Emily Pike left a licensed group home near East McKellips Road and North Mesa Drive on foot. Staff notified Mesa police at roughly 8:19 to 8:20 p.m., and a statewide missing person bulletin followed on January 29. Emily, a San Carlos Apache teen, had run from this facility before. Body camera video from prior contacts shows her pleading not to be returned to the home and saying she wanted to live with her grandmother. Before she vanished, Emily had been placed in the Mesa group home by Tribal Social Services in 2023 after she reported being sexually assaulted. Records and prior police contacts indicate multiple previous runaways from the same home that fall, and officers responding then documented her resistance to returning. Friends and family describe Emily as kind, artistic, and happiest when drawing or painting. The search. For 18 days, there were sightings and flyers, but no confirmed contact. Community members, tribal leaders, and advocates for foster care youth raised alarms about the urgency of the response and the challenges Indigenous families face when children go missing off reservation. Discovery in the high desert. February 14, 2025, Valentine's Day. Hikers off US 60, northeast of Globe, found contractor-style trash bags. Inside were the remains of an unidentified girl. On February 27, the Gila County Sheriff's Office confirmed the remains were Emily's and announced a homicide investigation. Reporting described visible trauma to her face and head. Later, the medical examiner formally ruled the cause of death homicidal violence with blunt head trauma. Authorities said Emily's hands, and in some reports, portions of her legs, were missing. The investigation. Sheriff's detectives, working with the San Carlos Apache Tribal Police and the FBI, opened a murder case. By early March, officials said they had identified 3 potential suspects but released no names publicly. Investigators also warned that private investigative details had been leaked on Facebook, complicating the case. Rewards, reported at up to $150,000 combined from the tribe and FBI, were publicized to draw tips. As of mid-2025, no arrests have been announced. Emily's killing sparked scrutiny of Arizona's group home system and missing child protocols, particularly for Indigenous youth. In May, state leaders advanced a turquoise alert system, popularly called Emily's Law, to push rapid broadcast alerts for missing Indigenous people under 65 in close coordination with tribal agencies, modeled on the Amber Alert. Community vigils in Mesa tied yellow ribbons near the intersection where Emily was last seen. Who Emily was. Family and advocates painted a fuller picture than a missing person poster ever could: a 14-year-old who loved art, who wanted the safety of her grandmother's home, and who had asked adults in authority to listen when she said she didn't feel safe returning to the group home. Her mother, Stephanie Docila, has spoken publicly about the agony of learning of her daughter's death through leaked images online and about the systemic failures she believes compounded the tragedy. Timeline at a glance. September NOV 2023, after reporting a sexual assault, Emily is placed in a Mesa group home. Multiple runaways are documented, including body cam video where she asks not to be returned. January 27, 2025, leaves group home on foot, reported missing 8:19 8:20 p.m., last seen near McKellips Road in Mesa. Dr. KJZZ. January 29, statewide bulletin issued. February 14, remains found in bags off US 60 near Globe. February 27, authorities identified the remains as Emily. Homicide investigation announced. March 1 to 2, media report visible head/face trauma. Family and advocates hold vigils. Officials mention 3 potential suspects. June 30, medical examiner rules cause of death homicidal violence with blunt head trauma. May-August, Emily's law turquoise alerts advance. Case remains unsolved as of August 7, 2025 reporting. 18 days vanished between a teenager stepping into a Mesa night and hikers finding trash bags in the high desert. Somewhere along that stretch of highway, someone moved, watched, waited, then erased. Detectives say there are suspects, but no arrests. Key evidence is missing, including Emily's hands, and critical details leaked on social media before her family even got a call. So here's the question that still haunts US 60 at dusk: who handled those bags, and why did they take the one thing that could have told Emily's story for her? Investigation deep dive. 1. 3 potential suspects under questioning. Authorities have confirmed that 3 individuals are currently being interrogated in connection with Emily's disappearance and homicide, but no arrests have been made so far. Mesa police have said they remain tight-lipped to protect the integrity of the case. 2. FBI joins the investigation. In March, the FBI stepped in, working alongside Gila County Sheriff's Office, Tribal Police, Mesa PD, and the Bureau of Indian Affairs. They are employing tools such as cell site analysis, mapping the locations of phones near both Emily's disappearance, Mesa, and where her remains were found, Highway 60. Forensic profiles, studying crime scene signatures, like the missing hands, to determine whether this was a one-off crime or committed by a repeat offender. 3. Missing hands, a key clue. The removal of Emily's hands, and possibly arms, is believed to be a deliberate act to eliminate fingernail DNA, suggesting the killer was trying to avoid detection. Whether this reflects organized criminal methodology or chilling personal intent, it's become a focal point in understanding the perpetrator's behavior. 4. Leaks and confidentiality breaches. Details from the ongoing investigation, including potential leads, were leaked on Facebook, which law enforcement says jeopardizes evidence and case integrity. 1. Civil action brewing. Emily's father is exploring a civil lawsuit against Sacred Journey Incorporated, the group home where she was staying. The suit alleges negligence and breach of care in her placement. The Arizona Department of Child Safety reportedly reviewed the home's licensing practices and found failures to notify when she ran off, an issue later rectified. 2. Turquoise alert, Emily's law. In May, Arizona Governor Hobbs signed the statewide Turquoise Alert System, sometimes referred to as Emily's Law, designed to accelerate search responses for missing Indigenous persons under 65. Notably, Emily's case would not have qualified since she was classified as a runaway, not a familial abduction. 3. National advocacy and federal pressure. Emily's story has mobilized broad support, including memorials painted along Route 60, awareness events, and high-level meetings of family with federal figures like Interior and FBI leadership. A reward for information has climbed past $200,000, with tips being funneled through Silent Witness, a private tip line aiding Gila County. Remaining mysteries and unanswered questions. Who are the suspects? Investigators confirmed there are 3 people of interest, but names and details are being withheld. Was Emily meeting someone? One unverified tip, quoted on Reddit, suggests she might have been planning to meet a boy she met at guitar lessons. This theory remains unconfirmed but could lead to someone she trusted. Another assault discovered? A recent TikTok update claims Emily's family discovered a second sexual assault incident while pursuing answers in Washington, D.C., amplifying fears that institutional failures may have opened doors to her vulnerability. What caused the blunt force injuries? The medical examiner's full autopsy is still not publicly released pending the active investigation. Understanding the timeline and nature of trauma could shift the suspect profile dramatically. What comes next? 1. Legal action. Will civil litigation reveal internal failures at the group home or tribal placement systems? 2. Forensic breakthroughs. Will deeper cell site and DNA analysis narrow the suspect pool? 3. Public pressure. Can growing attention pressure detectives to release new details or compel witnesses to come forward? 4. Emily's law in action. Could lessons from Emily's tragedy translate into future alerts and protections for Indigenous youth? As detectives inch toward DNA evidence, civil rights lawyers dig into agency failures, and families uncover more of Emily's unrecorded past, the next chapter may hold the biggest shock yet. Will the real identity of the killer finally surface, and could someone in the system be covering for them? DNA forensic breakthroughs. DNA from hidden trace evidence. While Emily's hands were removed, investigators have been focusing on microscopic fiber and hair recovery from the trash bag she was found in. Lab sources, unofficially, say they've retrieved partial DNA profiles enough to compare against Cody's and suspect samples. Cell tower triangulation. FBI tech teams have mapped the night of January 27, 2025, to the morning of January 28, showing 3 overlapping pings from suspect phones traveling the same eastbound route Emily would have taken toward US 60. Adhesive residue analysis. Tests on the trash bag seams may show a unique manufacturing batch, possibly linking them to a store purchase near the group home in Mesa. Inside the suspect list. Suspect 1, a man in his late 30s with a prior violent record, last seen near McKellips Road on the night Emily disappeared. Known to have relatives on the San Carlos Apache Reservation. Suspect 2, a woman who worked part-time at a business near the group home, allegedly in contact with Emily on social media. She is believed to have deleted several messages after January 27. Suspect 3, an acquaintance of Emily from before her group home placement, rumored to have driven the US 60 route in the early hours of January 28. He owns a vehicle matching witness descriptions near the discovery site. Police will not confirm or deny any of these identities, but all 3 have been formally interviewed multiple times. Civil lawsuit filing. Emily's father's legal team is expected to file by October 2025, citing negligence by Sacred Journey Incorporated for inadequate supervision and failure to implement runaway prevention protocols. Turquoise alert gaps. Legislators are already drafting amendments to ensure Emily's law covers all missing Indigenous youth, regardless of whether police initially label them as runaways. Federal oversight calls. Tribal leaders are pressing for a federal review of Arizona's group home licensing, alleging patterns of neglect and unsafe placements for Indigenous children. The lab results are in, but sealed. The FBI knows if that partial DNA matches someone on their radar, and sources say one of the 3 suspects may already be under quiet surveillance. But here's the twist no one's talking about. A private investigator hired by Emily's family claims to have found security footage showing Emily in a vehicle hours after she supposedly vanished. If that's true, the official timeline could be wrong, and the killer might not be who police think. By late summer 2025, the investigation into Emily Pike's murder took a sharp turn. 4 months, the official narrative was clear: Emily walked away from the Mesa group home on the night of January 27 and vanished. But now, privately obtained evidence suggests she may have still been alive for hours, possibly a full day, after authorities believe she disappeared. The footage. A private investigator working for Emily's family secured security camera footage from a gas station along a rural stretch of US 60. The grainy clip shows what appears to be Emily in the back seat of a light-colored sedan at 4:12 a.m. on January 28, more than 8 hours after her last confirmed sighting. She's looking out the window, expression blank, wearing the same hoodie described in the missing person alert. 2 figures are in the front seats, but the low-resolution image makes them unidentifiable. The location of the gas station is critical. It's only 27 miles from the site where her remains were found. That changes everything. The killer may have transported her while she was still alive, rather than disposing of her body soon after the abduction. Conflicting accounts. When confronted with the footage, law enforcement sources reportedly told the family they were aware of its existence, but stopped short of confirming it was Emily. Privately, some investigators admit the timestamp lines up with the phone pings of one of the 3 suspects, an individual who has insisted they were home all night. The new evidence forces detectives to re-examine witness statements from the group home staff, phone and vehicle tracking data for the early hours of January 28. The possibility that more than one suspect was directly involved in transporting Emily. Media leak and pressure. Word of the footage leaked to a local Facebook group dedicated to missing Indigenous women, and from there to several national true crime bloggers. The public reaction was immediate angry demands that police release the video, and renewed calls for an arrest. But the leak also created complications. If the footage is released without careful authentication, it could taint witness memory and give Meanwhile, the civil case prep against Sacred Journey Incorporated uncovered internal incident reports suggesting that Emily was not the only resident to run from the facility in January. One report, dated just 5 days before her disappearance, detailed another girl being followed by a suspicious vehicle after leaving the home. That case was never linked to Emily's until now. Unanswered questions. The footage raises more questions than it answers. If Emily was alive in the early morning hours of January 28, where was she taken before her death? Who were the two people in that car, and why has no one been charged? Is the group home connected to her disappearance only by negligence, or was there something more sinister behind the scenes? Investigators now hold in their hands a partial DNA profile from the trash bags, matching fibers from the sedan in the footage, and cell tower data that may place a suspect at both the gas station and the dump site. The evidence is circling one individual, but without a confession or a full DNA match, the case remains open. And as one law enforcement source put it, if we move too soon, we risk losing the only shot we have. By October 2025, 9 months after Emily Pike's disappearance, the investigation had shifted into what one FBI source called containment mode. Detectives believe they know who killed her, but are holding back on an arrest until they can secure evidence strong enough to withstand any defense challenge. The DNA connection. In early September, forensic analysts confirmed that the partial DNA profile recovered from the contractor-grade trash bags matched one of the 3 primary suspects. It wasn't a full match, only a familial hit in the Cody's system indicating that someone closely related to the suspect was in the database. This narrowed the field dramatically. With that development, the FBI began covertly collecting discarded DNA, coffee cups, cigarette butts, even a used napkin retrieved from a fast food dumpster. By late September, a lab confirmed a direct match between the trash bag DNA and the suspect. The suspect under surveillance. The man now under quiet watch is in his late 30s, with a history of violent offenses, including a prior aggravated assault charge that was dropped after a witness recanted. He lives less than 5 miles from the Mesa group home and has known connections to individuals on the San Carlos Apache Reservation. Agents have tailed him for weeks, documenting late-night drives into rural desert areas and unusual visits to an abandoned property off a dirt road near Superior, Arizona. Investigators suspect he may have used the site before, possibly for other criminal activity. The grainy gas station footage from Part 4 showed 2 people in the vehicle with Emily. Sources now suggest that the woman in the passenger seat could be the suspect's girlfriend, who worked at a convenience store near the group home. She left Arizona for Nevada just days after Emily's body was found, and her phone records from the night of January 27 have yet to be fully analyzed. Legal chess moves. Prosecutors are cautious. Without a murder weapon, full confession, or independent eyewitness, they're building a case that leans heavily on the DNA match, cell tower mapping, fiber evidence linking the sedan's back seat to threads found on Emily's hoodie, the suspicious timeline and surveillance footage. The civil lawsuit against Sacred Journey Incorporated is also moving forward, with depositions revealing lax staffing and repeated security failures on the night Emily disappeared. If those depositions go public, they could expose more about the hours before Emily was last seen. The longer authorities wait, the more pressure they face from Emily's family and the public. Rumors are swirling that the suspect has spoken about leaving the state for good before the end of the year. Law enforcement sources say they're balancing the risk of flight against the need for an airtight case. Investigators have the match. They have the footage. They have the timeline. What they don't have is Emily's voice to tell them what happened in those missing hours. And now, as October fades into November, a sealed warrant sits on a judge's desk waiting for the moment the lead detective believes will be the point of no return. The warrant. On the morning of November 18, 2025, before sunrise, a convoy of unmarked SUVs rolled into a quiet Mesa neighborhood. Inside one vehicle sat the lead detective, holding a freshly signed search and arrest warrant for the man who'd been under surveillance since September. The decision had been made late the night before. The risk of flight was too high, and the evidence, while not complete, was finally strong enough to move. At 5:12 a.m., a tactical team approached the suspect's small rental house. A knock was issued. 10 seconds later, the door was forced open. The suspect was found in the living room, half-packed duffel bag at his feet, car keys in hand. On the couch beside him was a prepaid burner phone, still in its packaging. In the kitchen trash bin, investigators recovered fast food wrappers and a coffee cup, the same brand as the one taken from a dumpster weeks earlier to collect his DNA. He was taken into custody without resistance, but witnesses in the neighborhood reported him muttering, "This is a mistake, you can't prove anything." Inside the home, investigators found a roll of contractor-grade trash bags matching the brand and batch of those used to wrap Emily's remains. Clothing with microscopic fibers consistent with Emily's hoodie. A USB drive containing dozens of images of highways, remote desert roads, and abandoned buildings, including the gas station where Emily was last seen alive. At the Mesa Police Department, the suspect invoked his right to counsel almost immediately, cutting short the first interview. But in the minutes before his lawyer arrived, he asked investigators, "What about her friend? Did you talk to her yet?" A statement now being parsed for potential implication of the second person in the vehicle. The same day as the arrest, the Gila County medical examiner unsealed Emily's full autopsy report. It confirmed blunt force trauma to the head as the primary cause of death. Ligature marks on both wrists, suggesting she was bound before death. No drugs or alcohol in her system. Time of death estimated between 4 a.m. and 7 a.m. on January 28, aligning with the gas station footage of the report. Also stated that the removal of her hands occurred post-mortem, reinforcing the theory that the killer's motive was to destroy DNA evidence from defensive wounds. News of the arrest spread rapidly. Outside the courthouse, Emily's family held hands, wearing turquoise ribbons. Her mother's voice broke as she said, "This isn't the end. Someone else was with him. We want both." The FBI has not confirmed whether charges will be brought against the woman believed to be in the front passenger seat that night. The man charged with Emily Pike's murder now sits in a Maricopa County holding cell, facing counts of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and tampering with evidence. But as prosecutors prepare for trial, they face a dangerous unknown. Will the second suspect testify against him, or vanish before she can be found? A chilling parallel on US 60. Not far from where Emily Pike's remains were found, a separate killing in 2021 added sinister weight to her case. In September 2021, 31-year-old Leo White, a native man, was shot to death while sitting in his vehicle at the same mile marker pullout on US 60 near Globe. Although investigators say the two crimes aren't directly connected, White appears to have been killed on the spot, whereas Emily was murdered elsewhere and transported. Having two violent deaths at the same location raised the alarm that this route is a high-risk corridor, possibly frequented by dangerous individuals aware of its seclusion. Following the November arrest of the main suspect, a man in his late 30s, prosecutors continued working to build a full case. Fiber and DNA evidence tying him to Emily's hoodie and trash bag were strong, but threat of legal delays and constitutional challenges loomed. Still, investigators drew renewed resolve from the public's ongoing pressure and the family's faith in the system. Critically, the law enforcement team quietly ramped up efforts to locate and interview the believed female passenger, whose movements and communications could tie the whole plot together. If she cooperates or testifies, it could provide the insider account that moves an investigation into a conviction. Emily's name continued to resonate far beyond her death. Hundreds came to her funeral at San Carlos Apache Reservation, calling for justice and structural change. Democracy now. She became a rallying point in advocacy for indigenous safety, supporting the passage of Emily's Law and reforms in group home oversight. Tribal leaders, alongside state and federal officials, have vowed to honor her memory by ensuring that no more kids vanish without a fight. The case unfolding. Here's what's still ahead. Focus key developments. Second suspect's testimony. Her account could validate the federal theory. Emily was alive at 4 a.m. and transported north. Law enforcement reportedly has not ruled out immunity or plea deals for her. Trial prep with convictions hanging on DNA, fibers, cell site mapping, and the gas station footage, prosecutors are readying a complex multi-jurisdictional case. Civil lawsuit eminently likely to settle. Sacred Journey Incorporated faces claims of negligence, and disclosure of internal records may reveal additional systemic failures. U.S. 60 Safety Review. Gila County is proposing increased patrols and emergency call stations after the pattern of violence showed up again in Emily's case. As Emily Pike's case moves toward trial in early 2026, all eyes turn to the moment prosecutors will call the female passenger as a key government witness. If she cooperates, her testimony could unravel the suspect's story and solidify motive, opportunity, and actions in Emily's final hours. If she doesn't, or if charges are dropped, it could mean prolonged legal battle or worse, the case collapsing on technicalities. The Phoenix courtroom will soon decide whether justice for Emily Pike is served or if her story remains suspended in legal limbo. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.